So in last video we converted this truck from R12 to R134A for the AC system. However, immediately after putting Freon in it, we discovered one of the hoses has a leak in it. That was the high pressure line. So we have a new hose here. We're going to install it and then add AC back into the system. Now my truck is a 75. If you have a 75, you have to be very careful, measure what you got before you just order a high pressure line. So measure, if you take the old one here, what size wrench fits on the nut here. Whatever that size is, you gotta make sure the one you order is the correct one. One's a 7/8 and one is like a 1 1/4, something like that. And my 75 uses the early style from the 73 and 74 trucks, which is the bigger one, the 1 1/4. So once you get that ordered, the correct one ordered, now we can install it. So just like we removed it to replace the O-rings, we just remove it. So that side done. Now this side. Now for the clips along here, I'm just gonna pry it open with a screwdriver. And we don't have to worry about damaging this one, but I want to make sure I get it open wide enough so I don't have to pry on the new one. Okay. And out she comes. Let's compare it. And if you have a vise, now would be a good time to put this in there to get the high pressure switch out and the adapter fitting we did for the high side. So I'm going to get both of those out, swap them to our new line. So got the new line in place, not installed. Already picked out some new O-rings for it since it didn't come with any. One of the old O-rings I just put on it in the last video was actually torn a little bit, so I probably over tightened it on this side. Now over here, doubt you can see, but there's 2 Schrader valves on both of the ports. And if we look on the old one, there was a Schrader valve in here. I removed this one for the conversion. This one doesn't have a Schrader valve, it's just completely different. So I'm sure they did, the manufacturer of this line just did that for cost savings since it's all the same thing basically. But I didn't need to remove the Schrader valve out of both of them. So I guess I'll throw that into my pile of Schrader valves. That seems to be growing now. So the high side port not fitting on the new high side line, well, on these older cars, the R12 ones, they have 2 different size fittings for the high side. There's a smaller one and there's a bigger one. You know, the kit I had was a bigger one. The new line came with thread that requires a smaller opening. So picked up the new fitting. It came with a couple of them. So if I have this in the future, I have some fittings to adapt. So now all we gotta do is just put it on and we're back where we started. Vacuumed it out for 30 minutes, let it sit for another, well, it was honestly about an hour, and we are right where I left it, so we are good to go. So let's start hooking up Freon, fill it up once again. Added 4 cans of Freon, and you can't feel it, but it is cold. Nice, it is working. And that we're just sitting here. We've been running for like 30 minutes because it's taken me a while to do this. But it is blowing nice and cool in here. Now we do have an issue with the key in the on position. You can't air the fan. It is at its very, very low setting and it's not blowing any faster than that. No matter what I do, it does not seem to want to blow any faster. So I need to figure out what's up with the fan motor. Is it messed up or the wiring to it? But that is preventing us from having nice cold AC in here. The other concerning thing is the compressor is not kicking on its own. I have to keep jumping it with my power probe. So either this high side pressure switch is not working or the wiring to the relay there is not working. But something's off. But when I do kick the compressor on, it's blowing cold air. So compressor wise, that is perfectly fine. Everything is doing what it should be. So we just got to figure out what's wrong. Why is it not triggering the compressor on its own and the fan motor on the inside? So So this is the blower fan motor over here. I unplugged the power wire that went down there. So this is the part that comes from the resistor to the terminal that goes into the fan. And checking the voltage with the key in the on position, we have 12, basically battery voltage, 12.6. So that fan should be going full blast. It's not. Let's do a power probe directly to it and see what happens. Now let's give it 12 volts directly to the terminal. And it's spinning. And that's going pretty good. Okay. So when I apply battery voltage directly to the fan motor, it rips full blast. But when I plug it in, and I just measured again, I was getting 12.3 this time. It's less than half output. So something's going on with the wiring and not the fan itself. Now my suspicion is the inside here, the HVAC unit. It feels like when I select it, it's not doing anything. And it's not kicking the AC compressor on, so I kind of think like this top switch is not doing anything for some reason. So I think I found the issue. It felt like moving this up switch did nothing. So do I want AC, vent, heater? That, absolutely nothing. Cold, hot worked, but that's because that's just a manual lever. It's not electronic in any sense. The fan switch did not work. That might be something else, but at least in regards to this thing not working, if you look back here, there's a yellow box looking thing. That yellow box is actually cracked. Like I can wiggle the whole thing. I can wiggle this yellow box and only one side of it moves. And pretty sure the way it works is it's like a resistor, kind of like a potentiometer, where it detects what position you're putting it at. And the contacts in there look to be all broken. So that's great. That's gonna, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be our issue here. Now, does that have anything to do with the fan? I don't know. So I have the vacuum switch out fully. This is fully disconnected besides the cable for the heater. And I've spent a couple days looking up for this part, researching, and I've realized this part is unobtainium basically. So this is the 75, probably 73, 74 shared this. This is a 13 port vacuum switch. The later ones used a 9 port. The 9 port you can find, they're still not very common. People are asking, well, like $200 for brand new NOS ones, or you can buy a whole used one for like $100. Now because of that, we have two options. Either we swap out this vacuum switch with a newer 9 port one. However, I've been told that that's not a basic swap. There's more to it than just swapping the plastic box here. So the route we're gonna go with, we're gonna attempt at least, is to swap out the entire head unit. It's gonna swap out the vacuum switch that's on the backside, and we're probably gonna have to redo the vacuum lines for the HVAC. It's a lot of work, but at least that style is more common. It's the 83 to 87 trucks, I believe, that shared that part. That should be more common, and that's gonna really be our only option in order to make sure that we get something that works. So in a future video, once I get that part, we'll put it all together. Hopefully it works. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.